Welcome into Studio S. My name is Dan Koob, joined as always by one of our favorites here. She is Anita Marks, joining us on screen now. How are you, Anita? So good to see you. It's been a couple weeks.
It's been a minute. You were on vacation. I was on vacation. And as we said before we launched the show, cannot wait. Like the NFL season can't get here fast enough, Dan.
I know.
Come on.
We are going to have some exciting things, though, coming to Sport Trade. We're going to have Wimbledon. We're going to have the Women's World Cup all the way from New Zealand / Australia, I believe.
Yes.
They're splitting it.
It's kind of like us in the next few years. Right. We're splitting it with Mexico and
Canada.
It's us, Mexico, and Canada.
Oh, Canada. Yeah, right. And then, of course, we've got another golf major. So we are going to talk Travelers Championship. We are going to talk NFL futures betting. We're all going to talk some live Major League Baseball betting. We had a Yurfy Nerfy live stream just an hour and a half ago, which I went 3-2. Very happy about that. But we have to start in a very specific area, Anita, and that's here. I need you on a scale of 1 to 10. I didn't prep you for this. Rate my mustache.
Uh-oh. Rate your mustache.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it looks this. Is there anything different? I don't know. Like, you look the same. It's been a minute.
I have a mustache for the first time ever.
Oh, really? You never had a mustache before?
No. So it's a 1. You're telling me my mustache is a 1. A 0.
Do you have a before and after photo you could throw up?
Not readily available. No.
But
never mind.
But wait, you've always had like the scruff. You've always
had
like, the 5 o'clock shit. You've always
facial
had the 5 o'clock shit. Yeah, you've always had facial hair.
Yes. This is a dedicated mustache. Well, this segment has fallen flat on its face.
No, I like it. Hey, listen, I didn't even notice anything different. Like, okay. It goes. Maybe, you know what because you always have that 5 o'clock shadow, Dan. It all bleeds in. So you look great to me. 2 thumbs up, dude.
The Travelers Championship will take place this weekend at TPC River Highlands. Okay. Hey, we're off to a flying start. TPC River Highlands, coming off a great U.S. Open. Wyndham Clark takes the championship for his first major. Did anything surprise you, Anita, about the tournament, about LACC, there was a lot of chatter about the course, about the spectators. Anything jump out at you?
Well, I felt the storyline was really interesting. About a month ago, prior to the tournament starting, some brainiac said, hey, let's cut the rough. By the time the tournament rolls around, we'll be fine. It'll be in perfect condition. But Mother Nature did not cooperate. Temperatures in LA were, mid to low 60s, and that was their highs for the entire month leading into the tournament. They had, what do they call it? A marine film? What do they call it? A marine whatever. We heard it a million times in the broadcast. I can't believe I'm not remembering it now. But weather conditions did not cooperate, so the rough never grew back.
Yeah.
And the pin placements were horrible, and the course was soft. And so Ricky Fowler and Shoffley go out and shoot what is it?
8 under.
63, right? On the first day. So that dude got fired, Dan. I'm sure of it. That USGA was like, what is this? This is not a US Open. These are not US Open numbers. And then as the weekend progressed, the sun came out, the course got dry, and it got a lot more difficult. And then we saw the real US Open numbers develop. But so I thought that was interesting. Number 2, and I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but Ricky Fowler is my favorite golfer. So everything I own pertaining to golf is orange because of Ricky Fowler. I'm a huge Ricky Fowler fan. So I was just so pumped for him. And I played him going in to finish in the top 20. So now Mama's playing with house money. I doubled down, and Ricky does Ricky on Sunday. So it's unfortunate. But Wyndham Clark, phenomenal storyline, phenomenal season, and so deserving. And the whole him losing his mom, pulling at the heartstrings. I was crying. The whole thing. It was all the things.
What did you get Fowler at to finish top 20? Not a market we offer on Sport Trade. I'm just curious.
Right.
Do you remember? If you don't remember, that's okay.
If I recall, I mean, it was something like, it was in the plus. It was like plus 120, plus 140, something
That'll
like
work.
that. I mean, it was, yeah. I mean, it was plus money. It was pretty solid odds. So, I did. It's so hard to pick a winner in golf because there's so many variables and everything can go wrong. So I just feel like where I win my money when it comes to wagering on golf is those prop bets. But this is why I know we're going to dive into the Travelers, and we're going to give you some guys that I think that you can invest in now, and then come Saturday or Sunday, depending where they are on the leaderboard, I think that they will increase their value for you, and you can make a decision heading into the weekend.
So we're heading to Hartford, Connecticut for the Travelers Championship. It's a shorter track this time around, about 6,800 yards. So on the shorter side. So you're not necessarily going to need the driver handy the entire time, but you are going to have to rely on your approach and your putting. Who do you like this week?
Well, first things first, and this is a guy that really gets some great odds. And in fact, on Sport Trade, you can buy him for $1, just $1. And that's Denny McCarthy. Top 10s at the Wells Fargo and the Memorial, top 20 at the U.S. Open. And as you said, this is a shorter track. Therefore, this layout suits him well. He's not one of the grip it and rip it kind of dudes on tour. And I just feel like he stands out with really, really good value. I think he's got a good chance of winning this bad boy. Some other guys that I like, Russell Henley as well. 4 top 20 so far this season, gained 7 strokes on approach this past week at the LA Country Club. And he's 16th in this field in strokes gained tee to green. Another guy that I like is Tommy Fleetwood. And who wouldn't, right? I mean, he's just playing exceptional golf. Shot a 63 on Sunday, where the conditions were the most difficult at the LA Country Club. And this is a dude who's just begging. He's dying to win here in the States. And this very well could be the tournament that he does it. He's one of the best on tour from 150 to 175 out. And because, as you mentioned, Dan, it's such a short track, more than likely that's going to be the distance for a lot of the approach shots. Some other guys I'm going to throw some coin on: Max Homa, Eric Cole, and Adam Schenk as well. Tied for 7th at the Memorial, flying really low on the radar. So those are a few guys that I'm going to buy some shares of on Sport Trade and see how it pans out for me heading into Saturday and Sunday.
So we'll give you some prices on those guys. Russell Henley, $2.30 per share. Tommy Fleetwood, $2.02 per share. Excuse me, $2.20 per share. Homa, $1.60. Cole and Schenk at 50 cents. I put this up a little earlier. We're going to show you the top of the leaderboard, at least in terms of pricing. Scotty Scheffler at plus 719. That's $12 per share. John Rahm at plus 1209. The same can be said for Patrick Cantlay. Rory plus 1410. Xander Schauffele, 1535. Hovland, Morikawa, Finau, Fleetwood, and Kim round out the top of the leaderboard there. If you are wondering if you're a price-sensitive bettor, yes, a majority of those prices are indeed the best in the state of New Jersey. I'll give you one of my picks here. I like Harris English, $1.10. That's plus 8,811. You compare that to DraftKings, he's plus 6,500. Caesars plus 5,000. FanDuel plus 7,000. Now, he won the TPC River Highlands before. Not a big driver, 116th on the tour in driving distance, but as we keep saying, shorter track this week. So 14th on tour in shots gained with the putter. He's in great form. 5 top 10s this year. He was tied for 8th at the U.S. Open last week. Again, I'm not necessarily trying to pick a winner. I'm trying to pick somebody I can make money on over the course of the weekend. Harris English, $1.10 per share. And at last check, a lot of liquidity available. So you can put a bunch of money down on a guy who could return you a nice little coin, which is the name of the game here. Like you said, really hard to pick winners, Anita.
I like that. I like that pick. He was somebody who popped out to me as well when I was preparing for this tournament. So I'm with you. Yeah. Maybe I'll tail you there, Dan, and I'll put some money on Harris English as well.
Would love it. Flipping over to baseball, we have a lot of afternoon baseball games. Earlier today, we had our Yerfy Nerfy Fest, loosely brought to you by Wawa. Not so much. Don't sue us. But we showed you a bunch of games that were on in the afternoon. And this is a bit of a mix of Yerfy Nerfy and also our Sport Trade Power Index betting, which we take the top 5 teams every day and we bet 1 share on them to win. Now, not necessarily going well. Now that we have Game 8 data, you could see Rays are all over the Orioles at 7-2. We're on the Orioles there. The Reds actually literally just hit a home run to take a 5-3 lead over Colorado. The Reds have won 10 straight, going for their 11th straight victory. Here's a sell candidate, actually, Anita, because we're up 27. We're basically at 93.5% there. So that's a candidate to be sold. Diamondbacks 0-0. I know you like them against the Brewers right now, and then the Rangers and the White Sox later tonight at 8:10. But we did have our Yerfy Nerfy Fest, of which we went 3-2. So, hey, that's a profitable afternoon. We'd love to have you on that show. It's a real quick one, Anita. 20, 25 minutes. We get in, we get out, we make money, conceivably. But tonight, you have, for the day games, rather, Arizona, Houston, for the games that are going on currently. And you have 2 more plays this evening, correct?
Yes. So, as you know, I've been all over the Diamondbacks all season long. In fact, if you recall, prior to the season starting, I said put money on the Diamondbacks. I like them at over 74.5 wins, and I love them with the value that you could have gotten them on Sport Trade. So, they've been kicking butt and taking names. So I do like them today over the Brewers. I know we're in the bottom of the second, no score yet. I would jump on that. I also, going into this, I also like the over at 8.5. Again, bottom of the second, no score yet. That doesn't bode well, but still a lot of baseball to be played. And yeah, I was all over the Astros coming into this matchup against the Mets. I know it's only top of the second. Astros are up 2-0, but this Mets team is just struggling big time. As for tonight, I'm on the Mariners tonight over the Yankees. Castillo is 4-5 with a 2.73 ERA, but also more importantly for the Yankees, Johnny Brito is going to get his second start of the season. He hasn't pitched since May 20th. He's 3-3 with a 5.58 ERA and 30 strikeouts total with his time with the Yankees so far. But his first stint with the Yankees, here's the thing. I don't expect him to go more than 4 or 5 innings. And the Yankees bullpen has been struggling as well, where I think Castillo really could have a solid outing tonight for this Yankees team, who, by the way, got swept by the Boston Red Sox over the weekend. So first and foremost, I do like the Mariners. And then second, I'm all over the Angels tonight against the Dodgers. Dodgers 18-19 on the road. Michael Grove is pitching. He's sporting a 8.10 ERA, just south of 9, going up against Ohtani, who I know
not
Ohtani
ideal,
who's been struggling as of late. But still, give me Ohtani 7 days a week and twice on Wednesdays. Dodgers cold bats against right-handed pitchers, and even if Grove gets the quick hook, the bullpen. The Dodgers, are you aware of this? The Dodgers have the second highest ERA. Their bullpen has the second highest ERA in Major League Baseball.
Oh, they've been awful.
Horrible.
Awful.
So the Angels have an advantage there. So later on tonight, I'm all about the Angels and I'm all about the Mariners.
The Mariners, by the way, minus 150 right now on the money line. Over $2,300 available if you wanted to get that down here at Sport Trade. You mentioned the Arizona Diamondbacks. We do the Sport Trade MLBI, the Major League Baseball Index, which is basically if you were to buy 1 share of a team to win on the money line every single day, how profitable you would be. And again, to your credit, Anita, you said this Arizona Diamondbacks team is going to be really good. They are second in the MLBI rankings right now. They've had a 15.73% ROI on the season. That means if you would have bought in 1 contract of them every single day, you would be up $578.85. That's blind betting, right? We don't typically recommend just betting things blindly, but if you did, you'd be up $578.85. The number 1 team in the MLBI playing right now, Cincinnati Reds, the highest ROI of anybody. They're about to win their 11th straight game. Just 2 weeks ago, they were 18th, and they've I don't think they've lost a game since, basically. So they've climbed all the way up from 18th to 1st. The Baltimore Orioles are number 3. The Tampa Bay Rays, unsurprising, are number 4. The Texas Rangers are number 5. The highest grossing team, not just in terms of ROI percentage, but in terms of straight dollars and cents, the Tampa Bay Rays at $626.70 if you just bought them straight up every single day. Probably not much of a surprise, though. They've just been an absolute wagon. Is there anybody, I'll throw this at you, based upon these numbers, is there anybody that just when looking at a futures market bet, a World Series bet, that you think is attractive right now?
Well, in the National League, obviously the Rays, but you're not going to find good value there, right? Because they're sitting at 52-25. Don't sleep on this Orioles team now.
Interesting.
They're young, and I believe they're only going to get better, and I'm really intrigued in what they potentially could do before the trade deadline. So in the American League East, those would be the two teams that I would look into. Obviously, again, the Rangers, but you're not getting any value there. The Angels definitely have turned the corner. Again, as we get closer to the trade deadline, I know that there's been a lot of talk and speculation that Ohtani potentially could be traded. I don't think so right now. I think they're in it to win it and try to see what they can do as they get closer to the postseason. In the National League, again, obviously it's Atlanta. They keep on winning. I like them today as well, by the way. They're going up against, I'm sorry, Dan, Aaron Nola. I just
broke my heart last night. A little 3-run 8th inning for the Braves as I was washing bottles, really dampened the mood.
I've got Rosario hitting a home run today, by the way. You can get that at plus 550.
Hitting a dong. Okay.
Yeah. But listen, how can you not love the Reds right now? I would definitely take a shot on the Reds. And in the West, you know me, again, I love these Diamondbacks.
D-backs.
So those are the teams. Those are the teams that I would put a little bit more coin on.
I have a real healthy man crush on Ellie De La Cruz to the point where we have MLB TV in the office here. I think I've probably watched 80% of the Reds games since he's been called up. He is just a lightning rod. I mean, he is so fun to watch, an absolute alien. Not in the same way Ohtani is, of course, but just you don't see 5-tool guys who look like that very often.
Oh no, and he definitely has been. Look at the numbers ever since he's been called up.
Yeah.
And in fact, I have already ordered my shirt.
Yes.
From 500. So if you would like one, I am happy to order you one from 500 level as well.
Oh.
And I'm happy, and I will send it to you.
I will happily wear it.
Fan now.
Happily wear it on the show with you. We will coordinate. Same day, Ellie Day. We'll have Ellie Day. All right. We're talking a little bit Super Bowl futures here. We've got them all pulled up. Now, one of the only games in town, a lot of NFL futures talk going on right now on all the content providing platforms because people, let's be honest, just getting a little tedious of the day-to-day baseball. We've got our prices up here. We've got the Chiefs leading the way at plus 656, the Eagles at plus 835. Now, some places have the Eagles at plus 700. So this is like a 20% profit boost while betting the Eagles on Sporttrade. I'll go down the list. I know you like Cincinnati at plus.
I love Cincinnati.
1055. The Jets, I think, are way too high at plus 1535. Well documented. Not a fan of their quarterback. Don't think it's really going to amount to much. The Dolphins plus 2702, I actually think is somewhat interesting. I'd have to cross-reference it with some of the other numbers here. For some reason, the Patriots, people seem to think the Patriots have a chance in the AFC East this year. I'm not exactly sure why, but plus 5346. I'm just looking at notables. But you like a team on this team that resides in the western part of Pennsylvania, don't you?
I do. Really quick before we go there.
Sure.
A lot of people that I know, analysts, are really high on the Miami Dolphins, specifically because of their defense. Yeah. I'm fading them. I have some big concerns because, Dan, let's be honest, one concussion, again, with Tua, what happens? He's out. Who comes in and plays quarterback? Right. So I'm just, on paper, they look amazing, but I'm fading them because I have got some major concerns in regard to Tua staying healthy all season. And the Patriots, listen, they finally went out. They brought in Bill O'Brien. So now, you got Matt Jones, who I believe in. I'm higher on Matt Jones than the average Bear. Now you give him a legit offensive coordinator that's going to help him grow and call plays and develop a game plan for him, as opposed to a defensive coordinator and Matt Patricia, which was the most idiotic thing to do. And there's some talk and speculation that DeAndre Hopkins ends up there and helps them offensively. So I think you can make an argument that the AFC East is going to be the most competitive division in the NFL this season. It's going to be a fun one to watch, Dan. So yeah, I'm all over Cincinnati. And you talking about the Steelers? You want me to talk about my Steelers?
Yeah, just to button up the Patriots point, at a traditional sports book, right, you could sit and look at that bet and say, well, they're not better than the Bills. They're probably not better than the Dolphins, and they might be better than the Jets, but is that worth betting on? Because then they'd have to get out of their division, get into the playoffs, and then either be better than the Bengals or the Chiefs, and they're just not, frankly. So that puts them at like maybe the 5th or 6th best team in their own conference. But again, on Sport Trade, if they're able to get into the postseason, you're getting them at such a small number. Now, it's a long time horizon, right? Like you're betting a decent amount of coin on your futures to return probably a very little amount. But, if you have the bankroll, you could try that. If you like Mac Jones, if you're high on Mac Jones, higher than the average Bear, I'm curious how sweet you are on Kenny Pickett then.
Yeah, so I think this Pittsburgh Steelers team is going to surprise some folks. Now, again, I love Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati wins the division. I would not be surprised if there's 3 teams coming out of that AFC North to make it in the postseason. The AFC is going to be completely, really, really competitive. I understand that. I like the win total for this Pittsburgh Steelers team over 8.5. They've got the 11th easiest schedule in the NFL. On top of that, Kenny Pickett is coming into his 2nd year. Folks might not be aware of this. He had the 15th best passer rating of all quarterbacks in the NFL last year, and he was a rookie. So now he's coming into his 2nd year, and also the 7th lowest turnover ratio. They drafted Broderick Jones. In fact, leapfrogged, made that trade with the Patriots. And
finally drafted an offensive lineman.
To get Patrick, who I think is fantastic. So now they bolster. They have a better offensive line. Defensively, don't forget Watt was out the majority of the season because that pectoral muscle. Him with Alex Highsmith. Watch out. Quarterbacks have to be really concerned. They draft Joey Porter Jr. You've got Mike Tomlin, who never has had a losing season.
It's probably the most amazing stat in, I don't know how long, but how could that be? It's like 15 years. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, so I think a lot of people are fading the Pittsburgh Steelers because, again, this is going to be a very competitive division with the Ravens and Cincinnati, and I think people are expecting big things from Deshaun Watson coming in with a full year to practice OTAs, be with his team, go through training camp and all of that. But I believe in the Steelers team, and I think there's a lot of value there. I'm not saying they're going to win a Super Bowl, but I think there's value there that if you invest in them now, I think it'll pay off towards the later part of the season.
I think, at the risk of sounding like a homer, I do think there is some value on the Eagles just because the rest of the market it has them at a pretty terrible number, if I'm just being honest. And I just don't think the NFC is that good. Last year the Eagles surprised people who weren't paying attention and benefited from the fact that the conference wasn't very good. This year, the conference is still not very good. The Eagles have a bit of a harder schedule, but I still think when it comes down to brass tacks, their best opponent is in Dallas. And depending on what happens with the quarterback situation in San Francisco, we'll see. But it's a huge question mark. Other than that, I just don't think it's a very competitive conference. So the only bet I am willing to make could be the Eagles, but there's an argument to be made, hey, you know what? They have to play somebody in the divisional round, in the NFC Championship round. And just by virtue of the market has to go somewhere, you could buy a team sit on it, and then hopefully that team at least gets into the second or third round of the playoffs, and then you have a situation where you could cash out for profit. So my only real lean on this right now as we sit here June 21st is the Eagles, which I know if you're watching this and you know anything about me, you're like, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. So not surprising there.
Just to kind of piggyback on your analysis, the NFC is it is so bad compared to the AFC. I mean, so yeah, I've got Philadelphia winning the NFC East. Yes, their biggest opponent is going to be Dallas. I still think the Giants are going to surprise some folks. I think the Giants are going to be competitive there. I think either Dallas or the Giants get in as a wild card. I do believe, again, the Eagles win the division. In the NFC North, I love this Detroit Lions team. That's a team that I would invest in right now as well. Goff coming in, they are a team that finished the season strong. They're looking to pick up where they left off. Dan Campbell, arguably one of the best coaches in the NFL in regard to getting the most out of his players. They had 4 draft picks in the first 2 rounds that I think are immediately going to contribute on offense and defense. Yeah, I love this Detroit Lions team. I think they win the NFC North. In the NFC South, to me, it's the Saints. I think everybody else is jockeying for position to try to get into the wild card. I don't think anyone out of the NFC South does, but I like Derek Carr. I like the Saints defense. I think they absolutely roll. And you mentioned the 49ers. I'm fading the 49ers. I know a lot of people are not, because on paper they look great. They've got a phenomenal defense. Offensively, a lot of weapons to work with. But Dan, who's going to be their quarterback?
Yeah,
I don't think it's going to be Trey Lance. I don't think Purdy is going to be ready. And even if he is, I think last season was an outlier. I think there's a good shot that Sam Darnold is going to start as their starting quarterback. And if that's the case, again, you and I we spent all last football season. Quarterback to me is the most important position in all of sport. And you're telling me that that I should put money down or buy shares of the 49ers on Sport Trade with the 49ers with Sam Darnold as their quarterback? To me, it's the Seattle Seahawks. People might not be aware of this, but Geno Smith had a 99.3 passer rating in passes 20 yards or more, one of the best, if not best, in the NFL last season, and a very low turnover rate as well. He's got his plethora of talent and weapons that returns. Bobby Wagner goes back to the Seattle Seahawks and helps them at the safety position, which should bolster their rushing defense, which they had a big problem with. Don't sleep on the Seattle Seahawks now. I've got them winning the NFC West this year, Dan.
Plus 39.85. Just before we go, I just want to list for you probably the top 8 quarterbacks in the NFC. The aforementioned Geno Smith, Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr, Dak Prescott, Jared Goff, Kyler Murray, who's hurt, Matthew Stafford, who's been hurt, and Jalen Hurts. Doesn't inspire a ton of confidence. I'm just saying, if you're betting out there, bring your crystal ball if you're going to choose anybody that's not midnight green. She is Anita Marks. Thank you for joining us as you do every week. We will talk to you next week. My name is Dan Koob. Thanks for betting on Sport Trade. We'll see you soon.